Guys, we're 10 minutes in there now and the fire bricks are glowing red hot. I decided to try it without that additional flue on. It seems to restrict the flow of the gas, but it seems to be coping okay without it, so I'm going to try without that on. As I say, we're into 10 minutes now. Crucible started to glow now, and there's first signs of the aluminium melting. Those fire bricks do an amazing job. Can hardly feel any warmth from that. The crucible started to glow now. I'm going to leave the flue off for the time being. I've got some more pieces of aluminium I'm going to drop in. First board I'm going to use this ingot I made a couple of months ago. Should give me a nice 2-inch round bar. I haven't put any borax in that first melt, I just want to try it without it. I put a small amount of borax in when I did the melt in the electric oven, and I think that seemed to help things, but as I first go with the propane one, I'm going to try it without. Put the flue back on, guys. I was just a little bit worried there wasn't enough exhaust space for the gases to escape, and it might restrict the flame, but it seems to have settled down now. Just thinking that might speed things up slightly. Yeah, I think restricting the flue has increased the temperature. Everything seems to be dropping down into the bottom now, and it's a nice steady flame. Time to put some bigger pieces in. Okay guys, that's been on now for 25 minutes. I'm just going to see how that big chunk that I've just put in is doing. Well, that's the results from the first pour, guys. The bit of a disaster I had. The mould that I'd made into two halves. I tried sealing the gap up with some aluminium tape, thinking that the gap was small enough to allow some out, but once it cooled down it would seal it, but it just kept pouring out and pouring out. I've split the mould into two, and that's the result I've got. I don't know if I can use that or not. The only trouble is it's in absolutely solid. I thought it might come out pretty easy with it being in two halves, but I've no doubt I can get it out, but it's not easy. Those first two pours I've used without any borax, so this second one I'm gonna put a drop of borax in this silver paper and see if that makes any difference. But it poured really smoothly. From experience I've had with the electric one, that was probably up around about 900 degrees, so it poured really well. So I don't think there's any need for the borax, but it's worth trying it as an experiment. As another attempt casting a bar, I've got an old baked bean tin, and I'm going to surround it with some sand. I don't think the tin's going to resist the heat from the aluminium, but if it does leak, I'm hoping the sand will stop any great disasters. I'm going to fill it right up to the brim with some more sand, and then we'll put the furnace back on. Well, first up guys, the crucible. It's had it's been in the furnace 3 times now, and doesn't seem to be any damage to it. You can see the two paler spots where the flame has been hitting it. I put a splitter on the nozzle on the torch, and you can see the 2 spots where it's the flame's been hitting it, but no damage to it. So that looks like it's survived okay. That's that out of the way. Right, the 3 pours that I did. The first one, bit of a disaster. I'm not giving up hope with this yet. I'm sure I can get this piece out and either use it for something or remelt the aluminium, so that's not a total loss. I think what I'll do, I'd like to try and use this again and clamp the 2 halves together and maybe put it all into the bucket of sand, so if any of the aluminium does escape through the joints, the sand should stop it going too far, and I'm not giving up hope with that one yet. Pleased with this piece. That was the first piece of aluminium that I melted in the electric furnace, and that'll I think this was 52 teeth on this one, so that'll be a second one for that. This piece I've put a number 1 moist taper through arbor, but I think what I'll do with this one, I'll drill through the centre for a number 2 moist. I made this arbor. I'm going to put that through as a number 2 when I come to cut the gears. So that's that one. This is the piece that I did in the baked bean tin. Looks a bit grotty, but once I take the surface down, I'm be interested to see what the innards are like on that. What I'm thinking of doing with this, because it's not very long, I think I'll turn this between centres, and if I find the centre of this and drill a small hole, I'm thinking of using one of these drives. These are what I use on the wood lathe, but with it being aluminium, if I drill a hole in the centre, I think it's soft enough for the 2 teeth to bite and drive it. Then I can put this in one of these straight shank arbors, and then that then would go into a collet chuck, and then I could drive it with that, turn it down. So overall, with the first attempt with a propane furnace, I'm quite pleased with it. I think what I have learnt is that it's amazing how quickly the crucible cools down once it comes out of the furnace, and I'm guessing it's been around about 800-850 degrees. So on my next attempt I might try and ramp it up slightly hotter, so when it does start to cool down, when it comes out, the aluminium's still hot enough to come out of the crucible. Well, one of my subscribers, Mike, has been having trouble with a motor on his wood lathe, and he said it was a Parvalux motor, only small, and I mentioned to him that I had one lying around, so I promised him I'd show him on the next video. The shank on this mic is it's 8mm shank on it. there. The nameplate's a bit faint. I shall have to get my magnifying glass to read the details on that. Ooh, I'm really struggling, mate. It's really faint. Wattage. It looks to be 60 watt, Mike. I think you said yours was 90, if I remember rightly, but I think that's 60. I can't make out the revolution on it. 230, 250 volts. Single phase. That's all I can make out on that mic. It's, as I say, it's really faint, but hopefully you've sorted yours out. But I don't know if that looks similar to yours. Let's say the spindle's 8mm on it. Well, I think that two-pronged drive will do the job, guys, with the aluminium, providing you just take light cuts. And this piece is starting to clean up now. Once I get past these couple of pieces, I don't know what created those. Maybe I had some debris in that can, but I think that'll clean up nicely. That'll form some of the smaller gears that I need to match up with this one.